This video is presented to you by www.testprepadda.com. Testprepadda.com provides free audio-visual lectures of different subjects by expert faculties, free online tests prepared by expert faculties to students who are preparing for engineering or medical entrance exams or planning to take exams like KVPY, Olympiad, etc. It provides a platform where students can interact with mentors to improve their performance in the exams. The mission of this online medium is to help students to achieve their goals. Dear students, in this session we will start the discussion of trigonometry. We will talk about trigonometric ratios and identities. But before I start the discussion of trigonometric ratios and identities, we will have some basic idea of trigonometry. Trigonometry is actually derived from two Greek words. Number one, trigonon. Number two, metron. The meaning of this first word is a triangle. And the second word meaning is measurement. So what we do in this trigonometry? Triangle measurements. Actually, in trigonometry, we study and measure angles. Initially, this trigonometry was developed to solve geometric problems involving triangles. The early applications of trigonometry involved finding like height of mountain. If I take this height, we measure with the help of trigonometry. Sundials to estimate the time from sun shadow. The trigonometry was used to find distance of stars, planets, moon. Uh, Nowadays, trigonometry is used in many fields, such as designing electric circuits. The other fields are like field of seismology. Here, the trigonometry helps in locating the epicenter of an earthquake. And there are many other areas where we use this trigonometry. Now, before I start trigonometric ratios and identities, I will talk about angle. What is an angle? Consider a point O where the two rays are meeting. This I am taking as initial ray, and this I am taking terminal ray. Now you can see between initial ray and terminal ray, this this is called angle. So an angle exists between two rays. This point, the point where the two rays are meeting, this is called vertex. So take a ray and rotate this ray in the anti-clockwise direction. Anti-clockwise direction. This is the angle theta. This is called positive angle. We have rotated the ray in the anti-clockwise direction about this point O. Now, if I rotate this in the clockwise direction, this way, you can see. This is called negative angle. So, anti-clockwise direction, the angle will be taken as positive. In the clockwise direction, the angle will be taken as negative. Now, what is angle? Angle is what? Amount of rotation. Amount of rotation of this initial ray, you can see, with respect to this point O, in such a manner that this initial ray and terminal ray, these two rays coincide. So you can define the angle as amount of rotation. Amount of rotation with respect to a fixed point in anti-clockwise direction in such a manner that the initial and terminal rays coincide. This amount of rotation is called what? Angle. So angle is clear. The important point here is, if the initial ray is rotated about this point O in the anti-clockwise direction, then the angle will be taken as positive. If the initial ray is rotated about this point O in the clockwise direction, then the angle will be taken as negative. This amount of rotation is actually called angle. Now the question arises. How do we measure this angle? How much is the amount actually? So if I take XY axis, they are mutually perpendicular. This is XY plane. Positive X, negative X. Positive Y, negative Y. So we have divided this XY plane into four parts. Each part is called what? Quadrant. This is our first quadrant. This is our second quadrant. This is our third quadrant. This is our fourth quadrant. Now, consider this origin as the vertex, and along this x-axis in the positive direction, our initial ray. This is the initial ray. Now, if the terminal ray, if I say this is as terminal ray, if the terminal ray is in the first quadrant, if the terminal ray is in the first quadrant, then the angle will be in the first quadrant. You can see rotation of the initial ray. How much rotation? Rotation when it coincides with the terminal ray. So what will you say? If the terminal ray is in the first quadrant, the angle will be in the first quadrant. If the terminal ray is in the second quadrant, then you need to rotate the initial ray how much? This much. Obviously, the angle will lie in the second quadrant. If the terminal ray is in the third quadrant, then you have to rotate this initial ray how much? This much, and that is why the angle will lie in the third quadrant. Now, if I take the terminal ray in the fourth quadrant, then this will be the rotation. As you know, we have to rotate this initial ray in the anti-clockwise direction. So this will be the angle, and that is why we say the angle will be where? In the fourth quadrant. So what is the conclusion? What is the conclusion? Conclusion is angle will be in the first quadrant, in the second quadrant, in the third quadrant, or in the fourth quadrant, depends upon the position of the terminal ray, and always move in the anti-clockwise direction. If you rotate or if you move in the clockwise direction, for example, this will not be theta, this will be called minus theta. As we discussed earlier, this rotation is clockwise rotation, and that is why this will be considered as negative angle. Now, if I take this initial ray and if I rotate this in such a manner that it coincides with itself, that means I am taking the terminal ray here only. So the initial ray will coincide with the terminal ray after one complete rotation. After one complete rotation, which you can also say as one turn, one complete rotation or one turn. Now, if I divide this complete one turn or one rotation into four parts, this, this, and then this. This one part, that is what actually, this is 1/4 of turn or one rotation. This we say as right angle. angle. What do we say this as? Right angle. We have divided this one rotation or one turn into four parts, and this one part is called right angle. Log on to www.testprepadda.com to watch free video lectures on different topics, to download free revision notes, to take free chapter-wise online tests, progressive test, and mock test, to discuss doubts with mentors. Thank you for watching the video. To stay up to date with the latest videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us on our Facebook page, Test Prep Adda. All the best.